why I'm always going on and on about these major long-term themes? Why I keep reiterating the holy connectivity trinity of new tech, social, mobile, and the cloud? It's because when you find a theme with staying power, it can make you boatloads of money literally year after year. Take Cornerstone OnDemand. That's CSOD. It's a cloud-based software as a service play that helps companies with employee recruitment, training, performance management. I originally recommended Cornerstone for speculation nearly 2 years ago. You know, the stock has rallied 182%. That's a magnificent gain. That's why we keep coming back to this theme. Now, in plain English, Cornerstone lets its customers outsource a key part of their human resources department to cloud-based software. They don't do it the same old way anymore. You might think that Cornerstone competes with Workday, another human resource cloud play we talk about, made us a lot of money. These companies have different niches, and Cornerstone is actually a partner of Workday's. Even after its amazing run, Cornerstone is still taking share from old-school software companies. Think Oracle. In its most recent quarter, the company reported much better than expected bookings, 51% increase year over year. This is one of those stocks I talked about the other day that the purists out there just hate because it's valued on revenue growth, not the company's so far non-existent earnings. But like I told you, that's a perfectly valid reason for a stock to go higher for some mutual fund managers. Let's check in with Adam Miller. He's the founder and CEO of Cornerstone OnDemand to hear more about the quarter and where his company is headed. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, sir. Well, it's been a fabulous recommendation. We got a triple on it. And the reason why we got a triple on it is you're one of the fastest growing companies I've ever seen. It just seems to me that people want to bring you in to be able to figure out talent management. I want to figure out what talent management does and why we need it at big companies like Walgreens or schools like Bucknell.
Sure. The easiest way to think about it is we help companies to recruit, train, and manage their employees. And at the end of the day, every organization, no matter how large or small, wants to identify high potential employees, figure out how to develop them, and make sure that they retain them.
Okay, but what software do you have that tells me who's good and who's bad?
So the software helps you figure out, how do I recruit the right people? How do I onboard them quickly so they're productive right away? How do I develop them doing different kinds of training for the right people? How do I set their goals, do their reviews, make sure we're moving the right people up, make sure we get the people that need help, the help they need, and get the organization going the right way.
But what have we been doing for the last 100 years? We have a HR, we have a CEO, they talk about who's good. What did you do to make it so that, they don't just sit around the water cooler and say, that's the guy we ought to promote?
It's a great question. So we've been managing people exactly the same way for the last 150 years. Right. But in the last 10 years, we have, for the first time, 4 generations in the workforce at the same time. We have baby boomers have been holding off retirement, but they're all going to retire very soon. We have millennials now entering the workforce who grew up on the web. We have people working from home. 40% of people telecommute. We have people working around the world. Lots of small companies today have global businesses. And we have people using devices to work 24 hours a day, meaning they want to be able to not work maybe 9 to 5 and work from 5 to 9. So all of those changes require us to manage people differently.
God, that's so right. Now, there are other guys who are in the business. You have Oracle and made an acquisition, $1.9 billion. You have SAP. They bought SuccessFactors. I understand from reading your research, you guys are somewhat competitive. For instance, in your February 11th conference call, you say, Marcus, since May, I've been predicting the demise of that organization. Here you're talking about SuccessFactors. You're saying there'll be a mass exodus happening from the former SuccessFactors SAP. I mean, obviously, you guys don't like each other, but is it working? I mean, are you actually taking business from the Oracle and SAP companies that they acquired?
When I started the company, very, very crowded space, over 100 companies in the space. In 2007, there were about a dozen left. When we went public in 2011, there were 3 leaders in the space. We're the last man standing. Well, only ones left.
SAP paid more than your market cap for SuccessFactors.
$3.4 billion.
Exactly.
And they left it independent for about a year and a half. Worked really well for them. They were our #1 competitor the entire time.
And you're smashing them, you're saying.
And now what's happening is all of the leadership is leaving. The retention packages ended on February 15th. And people are out the door.
All right, well, we'll call Mr. McDermott on that because, we got to get the other side. Now, I read through all the documents. I say, they're partnered with Workday. They're partnered with Salesforce. But how do I know that Workday doesn't decide, we're in the talent management game. Nice to meet you, Adam.
Right. Well, the reality is in cloud computing, we all have tremendous momentum, right?
Right.
All of IT spending is shifting from traditional software to cloud-based software. Why? It's cheaper, it's faster to deploy, there's no maintenance costs. And in many ways, it's like using Google instead of using Microsoft Office at home. It's always available. You never have to do an update, and you can access it from anywhere in the world. So it just makes sense.
And so Workday is happy to have you as part of a suite?
We each have different parts of the total ecosystem of the enterprise.
And they don't want your part. They're happy to work with you.
Look, as these companies get bigger, eventually we overlap in certain areas.
Okay.
So there's a lot of co-opetition in the cloud.
Okay.
But we all have common enemies, and so we're working together.
Last question I have. People say, Jim, why don't you recommend something that sells at 12 times earnings with the S&P at 17 times earnings? Why don't you recommend something that has good dividend growth? And I say that the companies I've identified that have 40, 50, 60% revenue growth have been the biggest winners. That's how you model your company.
Look, we've had 60% compounded annual growth for 7 years.
Frankly, it's kind of unbelievable. I mean, maybe Workday. Who else?
There's a couple of
I don't know the
companies
others.
in the world
Right.
that have done something like that at this kind of scale. And we've done it while having 95% retention of our client base, which has allowed us to just keep building a tremendous business with global distribution. We're seeing demand all over the world, and we see a very clear opportunity to keep growing. But at the same time, we've been improving margins every single year.
Average selling price went up. I could not believe it.
Average selling price is going up.
I could not believe it.
And very significant cash flow coming and growing every single year.
Well, you've built a great company. That's Adam Miller, the founder and CEO of Cornerstone OnDemand. Please read the documents. Understand why I'm so enthusiastic about it before you buy it, okay? Because you'll regard it as speculative versus a lot of companies I see. But this is the kind of winning company that is making you the biggest returns. Stay with Cramer.